It's 7:30 in the evening across India. I am Tanvi Taneja. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. We'll bring you the day's big stories from across India and the world. My colleague William Denslow is joining me from New York. William, good to have you.
Well, good morning, Tanvi. It's 9 a.m. here in New York, and happy Friday. It's also 3 in the afternoon across Central Europe. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Ukraine says Russia has launched a massive attack on the country, using more than 150 missiles and drones. And Maine has become the second state to strike Donald Trump off the 2024 presidential ballot, citing his role in the January 6, 2021 riot at the US Capitol. But first, the headlines.
India conveys its request to Pakistan along with relevant supporting documents to extradite 2611 mastermind and UN-proscribed terrorist Hafiz Saeed to face trial. A tripartite accord signed between the Indian government, the government of the northeastern state of Assam and the United Liberation Front of Assam, ALFA, to shun violence and join the mainstream. Russia launches air missiles towards Ukraine, killing at least 18 and injuring hundreds. Ukraine retaliates, downing 27 Russian drones and 87 cruise missiles. And after Colorado, Maine bars Donald Trump from running for president in 2024 for his role in the Capitol riot case. Nikki Haley sparks controversy by failing to mention slavery as a cause of the Civil War. Up first, news from New Delhi. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs held its weekly press conference on Friday. The Indian Foreign Ministry spokesperson mentioned about the recent developments in the Dahar global case in Qatar, extradition of UN-proscribed terrorist Hafiz Saeed, and the upcoming general elections in Bangladesh.
जो सेंटेंस है उसको रिड्यूस किया गया है.
In a big development, the Qatari court commuted death sentence of 8 Indians. In follow-up to that verdict, India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that sentences have been reduced and the team will be discussing the next possible steps with the legal team and the family members.
This case is now in the court of appeal, as it's called. And there have been 3 hearings in the Qatar Court of Appeal, on November 23rd, November 30th, and December 7th. Meanwhile, our ambassador in Doha got consular access, mentioned that last time we met, to meet all the 8 men on December 3rd. This is an important issue that we are following, and you know that how we can get our people back to India soon, the earliest. That is what is driving us.
Answering a question on the extradition request to Pakistan for Hafiz Saeed, the ministry said that India has conveyed a request to the government of Pakistan to extradite him to India.
Participate in elections is something perhaps I should comment on. We have seen some reports in this regard. It is an internal affair, so let me not comment on it. But the mainstreaming of radical terrorist outfits in Pakistan is nothing new. On our part, we will, of course, continue to monitor all developments that have an implication on our national security. He is also a UN-proscribed terrorist. In this regard, we have conveyed a request, along with relevant supporting documents, to the government of India to extradite him, government of Pakistan, to extradite him to India to face trial in a particular case. I think that is what you were referring to. So yes, we have of course been flagging the issue of activities that he's been wanted for. In this case, you specifically mentioned whether we wanted to extradite him. Yes, there has been a request sent.
On the aircraft grounded in France with Indian passengers on board that recently returned to India, the ministry said that few Indians have stayed back and the matter is being dealt by French authorities. On the situation in the Red Sea, MEA spokesperson said that India values the free movement of commercial shipping but is not part of any multilateral initiative or operation in or around the Red Sea.
We value the free movement of commercial shipping, which is one of the fundamental principles underpinning global commerce. We are carefully evaluating all aspects of the unfolding situation in that region. Our defense forces are taking necessary measures in this regard, and in that context, I would also like to say I'm not in agreement whether we are in a position to defend or not. But I'm not aware that India is part of any multilateral initiative or operation presently in or around the Red Sea.
The ministry also reiterated its stand on the upcoming general elections in Bangladesh and said that elections are the domestic matter of Bangladesh. And as a friend and close partner of Bangladesh, India would like to see peaceful and fair elections there. Meghna Dev's report, DD India.
Still with India, aiming to bring lasting peace in India's northeastern state of Assam, the central and the state government have finally signed the long-elusive tripartite peace accord with a major faction of one of the biggest separatist groups of the region, the United Liberation Front of Assam, ALFA. The signing of the tripartite agreement with the pro-talks faction was held in the presence of Home Minister Amit Shah and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. The move is expected to bring down militancy in the state.
आज मेरे लिए बहुत हर्ष का विषय है कि आज आसाम के भविष्य के लिए एक सुनहरा दिन है। लंबे समय से आसाम ने हिंसा को झेला है, पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट ने हिंसा को झेला है। जब से मोदी जी प्रधानमंत्री बने तब से 2014 से दिल्ली और नॉर्थ ईस्ट की दूरी कम करने के प्रयास हुए।
Next, news of India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar's 5-day visit to Russia. Dr. Jaishankar shared his delight on visiting a school named after Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore in St. Petersburg. Sharing a video on social media platform X, Dr. Jaishankar said, and I quote him, delighted to visit the school named after Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore in St. Petersburg. The minister also noted that his passion for India was truly heart-touching. On to the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Russia launched an air attack on Ukraine on Friday, days after Ukraine targeted a Russian warship. Ukraine said that it repelled the attack with everything in its arsenal. My colleague William Denslow is in New York, and he gives us more on this and other stories making headlines around the world. William, over to you now.
Thanks, Tanvi. At least 18 people have been killed and hundreds more are injured in cities across Ukraine, including the capital, Kyiv. A warehouse and a high-rise building in Kyiv were severely damaged by the missile strikes. Many people are still feared trapped under the debris, and casualties are also being reported at a maternity hospital in central Ukraine. In a message on social media, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia fired nearly 110 missiles, 87 of which were shot down. The attacks occurred days after Ukraine targeted a Russian warship in the occupied Crimean port of Feodosia. In a blow to Donald Trump, another state has barred the former US president from its primary election ballot. The decision from Maine's top election official makes it the second state to block his bid for re-election so far. Colorado has also disqualified Trump from its primary ballot over his involvement in the January 6th riots at the US Capitol. Republicans in the state are appealing the ruling on the basis that Trump has not been convicted of insurrection. On the same day as the announcement in Maine, California took the opposite decision, the Secretary of State in California finalising the list of candidates for the ballot, which included Donald Trump. US presidential candidate Nikki Haley is on a damage limitation footing, following comments she made about the country's civil war. The former ambassador to the United Nations, whose parents are from India, is campaigning in the state of New Hampshire in a bid to become the Republican Party's nominee for next year's presidential election. But she's faced criticism at an event there for refusing to say the war in the 1860s was a battle over slavery. She's since clarified that it was a cause. DD India's Benji Hire reports from Washington, D.C.
It's a row that's engulfed political discourse here this week. Asked what triggered the war that split America, Nikki Haley omitted the word slavery from her answer, a choice that, quote, astonished the voter who posed the question to her. Startled, she claimed the Civil War, during which her home state of South Carolina was the first to secede, was fought on freedom and the role of government. President Joe Biden, who she's trying to replace in the White House, said plainly it was about slavery. It is widely recognised that a principal cause of the war was a dispute over whether slavery should be permitted. As she aims to appeal to more moderate wings of the Republican Party base and also present herself as someone with convictions, Haley's wording of late could end up tainting her image. Now, following backlash, she did row back on her remarks on Thursday, admitting that slavery was indeed a factor. Yet the damage was done and seized upon by her political opponents at a crucial time in the campaign. You see, in the coming weeks, they'll face their first major test. The primary season kicks off to decide which candidate will take on Joe Biden for the Oval Office. Haley and other rivals in the race still trail former President Donald Trump by a wide margin. She and they cannot afford to make mistakes. In Washington, Benji Hire for DD India.
Migrants continued to gather at the US southern border with Mexico as officials from both countries agreed to work together more closely to tackle the influx of migration at their shared border. Both the US and Mexico have agreed to strengthen a sponsorship initiative for Venezuelan, Cuban, Nicaraguan and Haitian migrants. 4 people, including a woman accused of being saboteurs with links to Israel's Mossad intelligence service, were executed in Iran on Friday. This brings the total number of executed to 5 this month, as Iran continues to accuse Israel of attacks on its nuclear efforts, charges the latter has neither confirmed nor denied. The 4 executed on Friday were the principal convicts in a case that involved 10 offenders. However, it's unclear if the rest would also face execution. Britain, France, Germany and the United States on Thursday condemned Iran for accelerating its production of highly enriched uranium, following the IAEA report earlier this week. In a joint statement, the Western powers urged Iran to immediately reverse these steps and de-escalate its nuclear program. Egypt has put forward a framework proposal to end the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Chairman of Egypt's State Information Service, in a statement, said the framework, which includes 3 successive and linked stages ending with a ceasefire, was drafted after Egypt listened to the views of all parties concerned with it. The statement further reads, Egypt would give further details of the plan once those responses are received. DD India's Trent Murray reports from Tel Aviv.
I suppose that would certainly be for, diplomats hoping there could be a resolution here, that there could be a breakthrough, but it's very difficult to see. We understand there is a 3-part framework that's been put in place, effectively a 2-week ceasefire in order for hostages to be released, then a discussion about who governs Gaza after the conflict, and then thirdly, a complete end to the hostilities. Now, Hamas representatives have travelled to Cairo today to take part in the discussions. We don't have all of the details of the plan, but already some media in the Arab-speaking world is saying Hamas has rejected that plan. You'd also have to get Israel to sign on to it, which will be difficult given the divisions within the government here. I suppose going into 2024, one can be optimistic that at least the negotiations are taking place, that Cairo and also Doha is trying to find a path forward here. But right now, trying to get an agreement from all the different factions within Israel and Palestine seems very difficult. And so I think it will remain quite elusive to negotiate an entire humanitarian ceasefire for the people of Gaza.
United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Gutteres delivered his New Year address in a pre-recorded speech. In that address, the UN chief talked about the outgoing year and its shortcomings while evoking hope for the upcoming year. Alphabet's Google has agreed to settle a major lawsuit which accused the Alphabet company of secretly monitoring the online activities of countless individuals. Reports suggest the search giant agreed to resolve claims that, despite promises of privacy, it tracked the internet activity of users, browsing in what they believed was an undercover mode. The lawsuit originally sought $5 billion in damages. And that's it from me here in New York. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, William. William Denslow joining us from New York. You're watching DD India Global, still to come on the show. India's holy city Ayodhya gets ready for a new airport and a redeveloped railway station tomorrow as the temple town gets ready for the historic Ram Temple's inauguration later this month. Countries across the globe witness extreme weather conditions. Germany struggles with overflowing rivers after non-stop rainfall.
In 2023, the world faced unprecedented climate challenges, yet positive strides were made. Join us as we unravel the significant environmental milestones globally and in India. From climate action to conservation efforts, what happened in 2023? Let's find out. At these times, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Global. I am Tanvi Taneja. India's holy city of Ayodhya in the northern state of Uttar Pradesh is set to receive a big boost in air and rail connectivity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Ayodhya on 30th of December 2023 and inaugurate a host of projects aimed at making the town better prepared to handle the huge anticipated rush of pilgrims in the near future. DD India's Ravi Dhiman reports.
The city of Ayodhya has its own historical, religious and cultural importance. On 30th of December, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take an important step that will make this city realize the infrastructure connectivity potential it surely needs and deserves. For in coming weeks, months and years hereafter, this city is going to witness an influx of thousands and thousands of tourists, devotees and pilgrims.
Ayodhya witnessed hectic activity on December 29th as the city made last-minute preparations for the Prime Minister's visit. Roads were decked up with flowers and security agencies did the mock drills for the all-important visit. Prime Minister's visit will herald a new era of enhanced connectivity for this historic town. It will bring gifts of connectivity, civic and developmental projects for this town. Prime Minister will first inaugurate the redeveloped Ayodhya railway station and flag off new Amrit Bharat trains and Vande Bharat trains. The railway station has been renamed as Ayodhya Dham Junction. The station, with a blend of temple architecture and modern amenities, will be a major boon for thousands of pilgrims that come to that temple town every year. The new terminal will cater to the increased rush anticipated in not too distant future.
The main road leading to the entrance of the railway station and to the main lobby rivals that of any international airport. The outside architecture is based on the Nagara temple style, and it is fully complemented by modern facilities and amenities that will be available to the passengers once they arrive in this railway station. So come 2024, all the pilgrims and visitors coming to Ayodhya are set for a pleasant surprise.
Prime Minister will thereafter inaugurate the newly built Ayodhya airport. The airport is a sight to behold, a perfect blend of temple architecture depicting the rich history of the place and passenger amenities comparable to the best in the world. Prime Minister will also address a huge gathering right outside the airport. There he will inaugurate, dedicate to the nation and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth more than 15,700 crores in the state. These include projects worth about 11,100 crore for the development of Ayodhya and its surrounding areas, and projects worth about 4,600 crore related to other projects across the state of Uttar Pradesh.
The workers here in Ayodhya are braving the elements to deck the city and welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi and thousands of others who are coming to Ayodhya to make it indeed a memorable day in the history of this city. With cameraman SP Dubey, this is Ravi Dhiman in Ayodhya for DD India.
Meanwhile, the holy city of Ayodhya saw a dazzling performance of the evening prayers called the Sandhya Aarti along the Saryu River. Every evening, 365 days of the year, the evening prayers at the Saryu Ghat is a tradition that has graced Ayodhya for decades. From Ayodhya to Chennai now, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman attended an interactive session with students discussing transforming India into the new decade. The session was held at the Jain College in the southern city of Chennai. Nirmala Sitharaman addressed questions from the students, emphasizing the pivotal role of the youth in realizing Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of a developed India by the year 2047. Now, in Nepal, the Investigation Commission has found that the Yeti Airlines aircraft crash that had occurred in Pokhara, Nepal on January 15, 2023 was due to human error. The Investigation Commission submitted the report with the conclusion that the ATR-72 plane of the Yeti Airlines crashed in Pokhara on 15th of January 2023, and it was due to human error. It took 8 months and 3 days for the Commission to carry out the investigation and prepare the report. A total of 72 passengers, including 5 Indians, had died after the aircraft crashed into the Sethi Gorge while landing in the newly built Pokhara International Airport. And now we take a look at other stories making news around the world. Spain's newly appointed Economy Minister, Carlos Cuerpo, was sworn into his new post by King Felipe on Friday. The 43-year-old, who until now led the Treasury Department, is now set to head the European Investment Bank. Turkish authorities on Friday detained 29 people suspected of having ties to militant group Islamic State in operations across 9 provinces, including Istanbul and Ankara. 3 other suspects linked to the 29 detainees have been captured in operations as well. Fearing a repeat of 2022's violence, the Berlin police has tightened security ahead of New Year's Eve this year. Last year's celebration saw attacks which left 18 police officers injured and 103 people arrested. In a video posted on social media, police and fire services asked people to refrain from these attacks and allow peaceful New Year celebrations. As many people around the world ring in the festive season, several places have been facing extreme weather conditions, with record low temperatures in some areas, heat waves, floods and bushfires in others. Countries from the north to the south are witnessing extreme weather conditions.
The United Kingdom saw heavy damage as Storm Gerrit brought strong winds on Thursday. The storm also caused travel disruption. The UK's Meteorological Office is forecasting more heavy rain to come this weekend, followed by snow. In the United States, California is hit by storms, triggering massive waves of 28 to 33 feet on its coast on Friday. Flooding has led to evacuation orders in several areas of Northern California. Meteorologists have warned that worse is yet to come. South America's Peru is also ravaged by floods following heavy rains in the northeastern region of Loreto. Australia is battling twin troubles. The country's north and west is bracing for intense heatwave, prompting authorities to raise bushfire risks, with several regions under total fire bans. Severe storms in the east has already left 10 people dead, and thunderstorms are expected to redevelop. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, floods and landslides caused by torrential rain has killed at least 40 people. According to UN climate experts, extreme rainfall is becoming more intense and frequent in Africa due to warming temperatures. Following weeks of record low sub-freezing temperatures, heavy fog and haze shrouded areas in China's Shanghai on Friday. The Central Meteorological Observatory issued its first red alert for fog since 2017.
And now we take you to Dubai, where the city has transformed itself into a winter wonderland ahead of New Year celebrations. The city has once again embraced the holiday spirit with the revival of its captivating winter city at the Expo City Dubai from December 15, 2023 to January the 7th, 2024. The winter city resonates with live music, as carolers serenade visitors and festive tunes permeate the air. The entertainment lineup includes live shows and theatrical performances, catering to diverse tastes. So with the weekend approaching and the New Year, we wish all our viewers a very happy New Year. That's it in this edition of DD India Global. We'll be back on Monday. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. You can also find us online at ddindia.co.in. I am Tanvi Taneja. From my entire team in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.